When it comes to money, people have binary thoughts towards it. People generally love money or they hate it. Love because it fulfills their wants and creature comforts, and hate because they've seen what money turns people into or the result of the lack of money. No matter what your thoughts are about money, I heard this one quote that I remember from years ago. Money is not everything, but it's probably second to oxygen. Although the abundance of money doesn't automatically lead to happiness, the lack of it generally leads to a lot of suffering and pain. For a family, this could mean a lack of food, a lack of shelter, and a lack of options in deciding where they live or attend school. It's the difference between taking a job that makes you happy or working because it pays the bills. The thing is, taking steps towards improving your financial health isn't difficult. However, it's going to require a lot of consistency. So here are a few steps to help you improve your financial health. Step 1. Create multiple bank accounts. Most people only have 1 or 2 bank accounts they generally put their money in. One generally is for savings, whilst the other is for spending. The problem with this approach is that people dip into their savings for spending. So if they want a new bag, it's not very difficult to make a quick transfer and get what you want. So what I recommend is making 4 bank accounts, an idea which I got from the Barefoot Investor. First is creating an emergency fund, which can range depending on how secure you want to be. For some, it's 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. For others, it's a year. The bank account for this emergency fund should be with a different bank you're not currently using, with 2 of the following conditions. First, that there's no credit card tied to the account. This will create an extra step if you want to actually spend the money, and it will help us control a lot of those impulse purchases. The fact that we're also setting up this account in a separate bank means that you're less likely to see the money that you've saved. So psychologically, you feel like you have less money than you actually do. Second is to make sure your money is in a high interest savings account. Because we're putting a lump sum of money into that account, we want to make sure that the money is working for us. In Australia, you can find offers for high savings accounts close to 3%. Which means that if you're depositing about $50,000 into the savings account, per year you should be getting about $1,500 in return. It also helps if the account only gives you the high percentage on the basis that you don't withdraw any money from the account. What that does is it acts as an incentive for you to keep the money in the account and not actually make any withdrawals for the whole year. Second is having your everyday expense account. This account is, as the name suggests, used for everyday purchases. This account can be used with any bank, preferably with the one that you're currently using. In this account, you want to deposit your bare minimum for living expenses because you want more of the money to flow into your other accounts. Personally, I try to live off 20% of my earnings, if not less. So if you earn $1,000 a week, I would put about $200 for expenses for the week. Now, if you're an individual who does have to make home loan repayments or has to pay rent, I would definitely look at reducing your daily expenses. This could mean having 1 less coffee, having $10 lunches, but generally looking at what you spend on a daily basis and then reducing that in any means possible. The third account you'd need to open is what I would call your play account or your smile account. This is an account where you can save up for a holiday, phone, computer, basically any luxuries that will make you smile. The psychology behind this account is that it makes purchasing luxuries in life like a game. Each week you can see this amount go up and up, and each week you become closer and closer to being able to purchase the thing you've been saving up for. Now, it's important that you actually spend the money once you've reached the goal, because you don't want to get to the point where you've saved up so much money and been so consistent but then actually never reward yourself. Now, this has happened to me personally, and as a result of saving really well for 3 months and not spending a single dime on any luxuries or anything for myself, I ended up spending over $3,000 on goods that I was going to be using, but I definitely had not accounted for. For me, I tend to put 10 to 15% of my earnings into this account, and in the past I've used this to save up for an iPhone X after using my iPhone 6 for 4 years. In my opinion, this account is best used for saving up for holidays. And although at the start it won't seem much, especially if you're putting it in amounts like $50 a week, by the end of the year, you'll have about $2,600, which is enough for a small holiday abroad. The fourth account is the most important account in becoming financially free, which is your investing account. This will be the biggest account once you've built up your emergency funds, so it'll need to be an account that has a high interest rate. I'm not going to go over how you should invest in it, whether it's in real estate, cryptocurrency, the stock market. It's really up to you. Now, apart from the skills and the expertise in the particular vehicle you want to invest in, the main factor to whether you'll reach financial freedom is how much money you invest. The money you invest should create a form of income independent of whether you decide to work or not work in the future. This is so should you hate your job or should circumstances change in the future, you can step away from the workplace without any financial consequences or very minimal financial consequences. For me, my investing capital generally represents 40% of my income, as I already have a yearly emergency fund and tend to live frugally anyways for everyday purchases and expenses. Now, for most people, when they receive a source of income, they will spend their money in their 1 or 2 bank accounts without any guidance of how to use that money in order to build wealth. Now, to break things down, this is generally how I do it. Now, when I receive my source of income, 20% of that goes into my expense account, which also includes rent. 15% of that goes into my play account, as we mentioned before, which is for my purchases throughout the year. And about 65% goes into my investing account, but also covers one-off expenses like car insurance for the year. Now, just to be clear, I don't have any children yet, so that is not an expense that I have to take care of or consider within my budget. But the most important thing is actually starting out and taking the appropriate steps to actually build the emergency fund. Because what this is going to become is your safety net if anything were to happen to you, a friend, a family member. And within this time, if you need to step away from work, you can take care of it and resolve any issue without big financial consequences. Now, within your journey to achieving financial freedom, the most important thing is sticking to the percentages for as long as possible. And that's going to be the quickest way for you to receive and compound that wealth over time. So although this isn't going to be an easy path, the biggest thing is consistency over a long period of time and developing those saving habits so you don't even have to think of it. Because instead of having to think about what percentages and what amount should go into your which account and what should be invested, what should be saved, what do I use for expenses, this should slowly become a lifestyle if you are consistent with it over a period of years. And once you get to that point where it becomes a lifestyle, compounded over a decade or 2 or 3, you'll start to see and live the life that you want to live just because you have the financial option to do so. I hope you guys enjoyed this short video. It did take me a while to film and edit different clips. If you did enjoy it, please leave a comment below, smash the like button and subscribe to my channel.